Night Football in Fresno. What else could you ask for as we encroach upon the weekend? It's the hosting Fuego of Central Valley and the Charlotte Independence on ESPN+. Welcome one and all to this broadcast game 2 of 2 this Friday evening in Week 8 of USL League One action. Let's take a peek at the standings and where these two teams fall amongst the 12 in USL League One. I know it's early on in the season, and you could be thinking there's a lot of games left, so a lot of shifting still to be done, but there is only 22 regular season games this year with the addition of the Jägermeister Cup, which means for Central Valley Fuego after tonight, they will have already completed a fourth of their schedule. Charlotte Independence not too far behind in that category either, just one game less. So although you may be thinking there's a lot of catching up, there's less games, which means each individual match is that much more important. Again, only 22 games being played this year, so the bulk is not quite far ahead as you might anticipate. Now, something else that's been quite a long waiting for Central Valley Fuego is a clean sheet. It has been over a year since they've been able to accomplish that in League One play. Jermaine Jones wants his team to find that goose egg after 90 minutes against their opponents, and he'll be relying on the experience of Deshaun Nembard at the center back spot to help them accomplish it. It starts in the center and it spreads out, and he's got a wealth of experience. Most of it with Tormenta, came over to Central Valley Fuego this offseason, and they're going to need all of his efforts because this is a tough Charlotte Independence offense, and it's led by Juan Carlos Obregon. Just 7 appearances across all competitions for the Jacks, but it doesn't matter if it's the Jägermeister Cup. It doesn't matter if it's the Open Cup. It doesn't matter if it's league play, of course. He has been bagging goals, 4 of them in just 7 appearances in a Jacks jersey. What a great new acquisition he has been for Mike Jeffries and his side. He is clicking with this Charlotte Independence side. With that in mind, will Obregon and the cross-country Jacks find victory far from home, or will the Fuego carry their cup momentum into league play? Those answers and more await you on the other end of this break on ESPN+. Welcome back to Fresno State, where we have Central Valley Fuego and the Charlotte Independence preparing to do battle for the first time this season, presented by Daily Press. Daisy Press, as we take a peek at our lineups here. First off, for the home side, Central Valley Fuego, coached by Jermaine Jones. They started with a back 3 in that game against Spokane. They switched to a back 4 as the game went along, and that's what they're going to stick with here this evening as they face the Jacks. You've got a lineup of Emmanuel Gomez, Deshaun Nembard, Acha Isayaya, and Clayton Tor taking that back line. And they are in front of the 20-year-old Andre Zuluaga, who started in that game against Spokane and was able to stand tall in penalty kicks to help his team find the extra point in their Jägermeister Cup debut. Meanwhile, What they'll be going up against is a familiar side for Mike Jeffries in their typical 4-2-3-1 formation. They're really happy to have Omar Sis back in the lineup, making his return in the Jägermeister Cup. He's been hurt for a while, and now he is back in the swing of things. Of course, up top, it is just a dangerous clump of players. Those top four, Alvarez, Mbuyu, Joel Johnson, and of course, our already highlighted Juan Carlos Obregon Jr. All potent, all capable of scoring, all capable of facilitating as well. They've got a busy week starting tonight, going up until next Saturday, where they will play in 3 different competitions. Our head official for tonight's match, Servando Berna Rico. We will wait the whistle from that official. Central Valley Fuego in their red unis going right to left. Meanwhile, the road whites for the Jacks going left to right. Once again, my name is Mark Schoenster, excited to get this one going for you. And we are underway here from Fresno State Soccer Stadium. It's Central Valley and Charlotte. A home and away match for every single team this season in regular season play. Of course, you may get a couple more of those amongst your more regionalized teams with the inclusion of the Jägermeister Cup. I said it though in the open that in years past, you play 30+ games in league play, but now with the addition of that in-season tournament, it's now just 22, which makes every single one of these games even that much more important. In the past, you could have a funky spell during the season and be all right. But now that is not as much the case. But the counterpoint is that there are 8 playoff spots as opposed to the 6 or the 4 in years prior, depending on which year you're talking about. You can also say 2 for that 2020 season. Central Valley Fuego have enjoyed all the possession to start off here in this one. Sliding challenge will knock this one out of play. Anton Sorensen, the one out there. And actually deflected off of the home side last, so it will be a throw-in for the Jacks, and this will be their first chance to take a hold of the ball. Luis Alvarez was able to drag that for a moment, but couldn't keep possession for long. And here comes Central Valley. Siobhan John Brown. Tap this one backward. It's a combination between him and Tor. Now Heckenberg plays it back to Gomez. Gomez winds up for a shot, deflects upward, and falling into the hands of one Austin Pack.
In the interest of your players,
the veteran goalkeeper.
Please be aware that balls may fly into the spectator area.
As the PA announcer lets the fans know that there can be an errant ball every now and then, and it could come your way at a high velocity. That's the kind of intensity and power that can come with these matches. You always got to keep your head on a swivel as a fan. Here's Joel Johnson. Plays this one forward. Alvarez taps it back to Njai. Both of these teams coming off a victory in penalties in their Jägermeister Cup debut. As this one's given away, Jose Carrera Garcia threads it forward. Lawal gets that one stabbed away by Hugh Roberts. This one's blasted forward, and Zulawaga well away from his penalty area, but then lets the ball roll into it so he can pick it up. They won after it was a 1-1 draw against Spokane on the road in the Jägermeister Cup. They scored in added time via a penalty. It's a game that Jermaine Jones said that he wanted to get some of the young academy guys like Javier and Acha in. He said Spokane's a top team, and he gives his guys credits for having the confidence to play an open game with Spokane. He mentioned that he saw the guys applying what they'd been working on in training. He said, yeah, there's some positioning mistakes, but overall, he was pleased with the performance and, of course, proud of the fight that his team demonstrated in that one. Meanwhile, it's a bit of a different story even if it was technically the same outcome for Mike Jeffries and his team. A road 1-1 penalty kick victory. There's against Tormenta. He felt they started really well on that one. They scored early on. Goal scorer, of course, who else but Juan Carlos Obregon Jr. He said they pulled back a little bit after the goal, but he felt they were particularly sluggish out of the gates in the second half. But then they really took control, had possession. He felt it was in their hand and that they should have closed it out. And then they conceded a goal in added time off of a corner kick. He's definitely irritated by that, but they were still able to salvage the extra point to make it 2 points instead of 3. And this is a Charlotte team that has been very competitive ever since their entrance to USL League One, so the standard is high for these Jacks. This one played out to the left-hand side. That one jarred loose by Clayton Torr, as it was Sorensen who brought it far forward. Siobhan John Brown with a shaking touch gets it centrally to Jose Carrera Garcia. And his searching pass out wide instead finds Luis Alvarez. Both teams exchanging possession back and forth right now. Looking for an opportunity to strike. Here's Obregon. In that right channel. One-on-one with Nemhard. Those are our two players to watch going at it there, which we should anticipate seeing for a lot of tonight. Here's Mbuyu. Dragging pass across the middle, tapped away. And a heavy touch from Lawal will knock this one out. Mentioned when we looked at the formation that Central Valley Fuego started in a back three under Jermaine Jones. When they played Spokane last weekend. Then he felt that their 4-2-3-1 was pressing on them pretty hard, so they switched to the 4-3-3 when they subbed in Mohamed Dabo. And he felt that it worked straight away. And he also mentioned that he was happy that he has a group of guys who are able to adjust to that mid-game. For those who recall, while they were watching the game, Mohamed Dabo came out with a sheet of paper. I couldn't help but ask, what does a player do with that sheet of paper after they've utilized it? And although there's probably different answers for different players, Jermaine Jones told me that usually they just ball it up and wait for the chance they can get to the sideline and toss it to an assistant coach. He also jokingly said, tongue-in-cheek, that he hopes that they don't give it to the other team to look at. Heckenberg. Another man who played at Tormenta alongside Deshaun Nemhard before making the shift over to Central Valley Fuego, and those are two former teammates connecting once again as current teammates. Threaded ball comes through, knocked away by Spielman. Carrera Garcia gets taken down inside the penalty area, and it's a point to the spot. Jose Carrera Garcia makes a turn, turns on the burners, and then gets knocked over. We have got a penalty kick incoming. And it's a chance for an early lead for the home side. And that's some of the playmaking that you can get from one Jose Carrera Garcia, a League One veteran. And they're going to give the penalty kick duties to the same man who buried the penalty kick last weekend at Spokane, Robert Coronado. And he'll be one-on-one with Austin Pack, a save machine in USL League One. Can Coronado make it 2 converted penalties in a row? Yes, he can. 1-0 Fuego. Robert Coronado, his second goal in league play, his second game in a row with a converted penalty. Just blasts that one straight down the middle. Austin Pack picked a side. Whichever side he was going to pick, it was not going to work out for him. And now Central Valley on the front foot. And if they can accomplish the main thing that Jermaine Jones was harping to me this week, getting that clean sheet, and they've got 3 points coming their way. Of course, that's easier said than done. And here comes Central Valley again. An ambitious ball threaded through for Vasquez. Nice idea, just a little bit too far ahead. Austin Pack was able to read the play and get to it first. For this Charlotte team, mentioned it earlier, it is a busy, busy week for them. In 8 days, counting tonight, they have a cross-country road game against Central Valley Fuego. Then on Tuesday, they play in the Open Cup against MLS side Atlanta United on the road, back in Atlanta. And then on Saturday, they go home to play Forward Madison in the Jägermeister Cup. I asked Mike Jeffries if it's difficult to switch gears game by game. Of course, it's already difficult with the congested schedule, but is the change of mindset something that's really prevalent? And he said, well, really, we're just taking it one game at a time. He mentioned there is definitely excitement for that Open Cup game on Tuesday, but he mentioned this game is also really important, especially with the shortened league schedule, and that they are all focused in on this match tonight, but once it's over, then they quickly turn their focus to Atlanta United. We'll learn a little bit about Open Cup and Cup sets during halftime, but we still got over 40 minutes before you'll need to be thinking about that. Javon John Brown all the way in the right corner. That one deflected out for a corner kick. Cutis Lawal was right there, flirting with the idea of trying to poke it into the 6 for either Zahir Vasquez or Jose Carrera Garcia. But it will be a corner kick, our first corner kick of the night for either side. It'll be Gomez to provide the service. Ball comes driving in, bounces off the back of an Independence player. And it's out for a Central Valley throw. Javon John Brown takes several steps back. We'll see what kind of throw power he has got in his repertoire. And power he has. And a whistle blows, some unfair contact, and a free kick for Charlotte. This is the Charlotte team that Jermaine Jones describes as a team that's been around. They know the league. They know professional soccer in general. He mentioned that he's played with Miguel Ibarra. Of course, he's still recovering from injury, so perhaps that'll be something to look forward to when they meet later in the year. It would mean that there's a player on both teams in a match where Jermaine Jones, his former teammates with the player. Of course, Raul Mendiola on his own side, a guy he used to play with. Mentioned for us the key is to be solid in the back. He mentioned that Fuego are the third best team in the league at creating chances, but it's been over a year since their last clean sheet. I found that hard to believe, but then I went and looked, and lo and behold, April 1st, 2023, in their season opener last year at Chattanooga is the last time that this Fuego team has had a clean sheet. Here's Hugh Roberts playing it out to Clay Dimmick. Here's an opportune moment for Charlotte. Omar Sis at the top of the 18. Plays it to his left. Obregon has to backtrack a little bit. Plays it to Njai. Now Alvarez takes the shot, and it glides well off target. It'll be a goal kick for the home side. We have a player down, slow to get up for the visiting Jacks. It's Omar Sis. And they do not want to see Ailing. And you get some help up from the youngster, Acha Isayaya. Still sporting a rather thick cast on his arm. There's the 20-year-old Andre Zuluaga. Alvarez with a touch from the outside of his boot, but won't connect with a teammate. Said Central Valley will push it forward. And then not on the same page there, turns the ball back over to Charlotte. Did have some injuries to touch base on here. Mentioned Miguel Ibarra. Still not healthy yet for Charlotte. Omar Sis back to starting form for the Independents. Also, Gabriel Oberton, a player who's been out, is also on the bench and came in that Jägermeister Cup game. Here's the ball popped forward into the hands of Zuluaga. Meanwhile, for the home side, still a lot of names making their way back. Golden Bear Physical Therapy brings you the home side injury report. I mean, that's 3 names on there already that have a League One experience in Omar Lemus, Jason Ramos, and Mo Espinoza. Just want to get healthy if you're Central Valley. I mean, that's experience and talent across the board formation-wise. It's a long season, though, so you always never want to rush a player back. It is only May. And Jai taps this one forward, and then it's cleared. Talked to Mike Jeffries about his opposition tonight. He described Central Valley as a team that's high intensity, a pressing side with tons of energy. He said in a way they take on the qualities of their coach, Jermaine Jones. The qualities at least he had as a player. He mentioned that's a team that's still finding their way and rotating a lot due to tweaks and rotating due to injuries. He mentioned it actually makes it harder for them to prepare for because they don't know what to anticipate as far as personnel and setup. Whistle blown by our head official, Servando Bernarico. I mean, it's a free kick for the Independents. Alvarez taps it over to the left channel. Centering ball doesn't make it far enough, but Omar Sis nearly had the opportunity to take a crack at it. He was closed off just a moment in time. And Buyu. And keeps it in play by playing it back to Alvarez. And that ball just a little bit too long, and will go all the way out for a goal kick. The inaugural USL Jägermeister Cup continues on Saturday, May 11th, with the second round games in group play starting at 1 p.m. Eastern. Watch all the cup games streaming exclusively on ESPN+. That 1 p.m. game is the game between Charlotte and Madison. So you can get your Jägermeister Cup fun going early next weekend. Got 2 league games tomorrow. We'll have Greenville forward Madison playing at 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, and then an hour later, Tormenta in Union Omaha. It's very interesting, the alternating schedules between the Jägermeister Cup and League One play. I would say I'm a fan of it in the essence of being able to see the 2 competitions unfurl as the year goes on, as opposed to just converting one portion of the year to an in-season tournament. It's Jose Carrera Garcia, the man who drew the penalty. That's the difference in this one. Is still on the ground.
Please make sure you check out the Fuego team store located at
Looks like he's doing all right. There's like a brief warning from our head official to Clay Dimmick, and we'll get a drop ball that Charlotte will welcome. As far as that alternating schedule, the one thing that is interesting, though, is that each week your mindset per competition does have to tweak a little bit. And I asked how much of a difference is it to Jermaine Jones, and he said that it's the same mentality mostly. I mean, for his side, they're focusing on winning the game either way. It's not like in one case you're not trying to do that. He mentioned that we're focusing on what we need to do better and taking the momentum of the win last weekend and carrying it into this match. Which, so far so good in that regards. They've recreated some of the winning formula from that game against Spokane. Convert a penalty by Robert Coronado. Of course, it's not a game that will go to penalties, so we'll have to do a little bit more to get 3 points. Alvarez fakes the service. Now drives it in. And it's square on goal, but it's 2 square right down the middle. Andre Zuluaga doesn't have to do much on it. I believe that was Hugh Roberts who connected on the service. It's a promising look for Charlotte, but ultimately not dangerous enough. Siobhan getting sandwiched there. Charlotte winning the ball back, lobbing it forward. And it's out for a corner kick for the Jacks. Here's a look at that free kick once again. And it was Roberts who got a connection on it. Really had good positioning there. You would hope that he could maybe aim for that right post, challenge Zuluaga a little more. Sorensen from the right flag. Drives this one in. Still in the fray of things. Sorensen could get by one man, but couldn't get by the second. And it's out for a goal kick, escorted out by Qudis Lawal. Rosenberg. Up for Jose Carrera Garcia. Nice little touch there to shake away Sis. Now he threads it forward. Nice little back heel. Here's a shot, and it's dragged wide by Lawal. And they're going to point to the corner flag. The official saying there was a deflection. It's a good combination play there between Vasquez, Lawal, and Jose Carrera Garcia. Just some nifty passes, nifty work. And they're rewarded with a set piece. It'll be Emmanuel Gomez once again. The man from Panama to provide service. Ball drives in. And we've got a board going down in the process. It'll be another corner kick.
Another corner for US Central Valley, Fuego FC.
The announcer warning the fans about rogue soccer balls maybe hitting them. You need to give those ad boards a warning that perhaps a body might come flying your way. Gomez once again. This ball comes in. And this time it'll go out and the call is a corner, or excuse me, it's not a corner kick, it's a goal kick. Mentioned earlier the return of Omar Sis and Gabriel Oberton to this Charlotte team. Mike Jeffrey said it's great to have them back in. He mentioned Omar's about a week ahead of Gabriel as far as fitness is concerned. Also brought up that Shalom Duty is back in the fray of things. Gives them another good option. Was not selected in the 18, but Duty, another choice for Jeffries. Another guy on that back line who has a couple years of experience in USL League One with the Jacks. Sis trying to switch the action, instead gives it away in the middle of the pitch. Vasquez lays it out wide. Crossing effort doesn't get very far, well blocked. Obregon somehow gets that one away, and Mbuyu dishes it over to the left. Alvarez won't push anything. And Jai calls for it. This one swings into Obregon. Bashir and Jai inside the 18, cuts to his right. Nice cross. No one's there for it. But Alvarez wins it back for the Jacks. Luis Alvarez once again with a man making a run. It's Spielman, the center back. Here's a cross inside, and it's off the mark and out for a goal kick. Select the official match ball supplier of the USL League One in many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. This ball floated well up ahead. Hugh Roberts will head it outward to Joel Johnson. It's a goal in the 10th minute via penalty, converted by Robert Coronado, drawn by Jose Carrera Garcia. That's the difference in this one thus far. Clearance not done well. And then some extra contact there means free kick for the home side. Looking for their first home win on the season. Their only win in league play coming on the road, and then their win last week coming on the road. And also, our 4 games in league play without a win. They won their opener at Tormenta and haven't been able to find success since. Heckenberg sprays that out wide. This one played it for Vasquez. He gets attached back. Vasquez with a shot. Deflects around. Vasquez again! And then it bounces back into the hands of Pack after making a stop. Central Valley biting for a second. Of course, it's going to take a good effort to get it past that man, Austin Pack. Ever reliable Nick Spielman distributes it out left. Alvarez. Play it back to Spielman. He'll foray forward for giving it to Alvarez once again. Sorensen. Luis Alvarez is a player who can kind of go anywhere on the pitch. Roams about, fills in some of the gaps. Right now playing along that perimeter. Obregon. Out wide to Mbuyu. Trace or Mbuyu. Gets by one man. Now takes the shot. Could not beat the center back there. That's Deshaun Nemhard. Once again standing in the way. Johnson. Some exchanges between him and Alvarez. Well, that's an excellent turn. This one distributed out to Mbuyu. Mbuyu with the squared ball deflected. Now the ball released forward by Coronado. Excuse me, to Coronado. Carrera Garcia. Midfield exchanging some passes here now. Siobhan John Brown playing it to Heckenberg. Nice ball from Jose Carrera Garcia. Here's the searching ball centrally. And a splitting Spielman is able to keep that one from getting to somebody dangerous. Central Valley, though, looking potent once again. Player getting knocked over, and that'll mean a free kick for Charlotte. It's going to take a lot to knock over a guy like Hugh Roberts, 6'4". Hugh to Slawal. Throwing in a shove there. Trying to win the battle with physicality, but maybe took a little overboard. Sorensen caught in a trap there. And now a free kick drawn by Central Valley Fuego. Whom, outside of course, scoring that penalty kick goal, maybe have the edge gameplay-wise as well. Of course, Charlotte have had a couple of good-looking opportunities. Look at the team stats, though. Right now, it's 4 shots to 2 in favor of the home team, both of which have 1 on target. Heckenberg. again, that's our head official, Servando Bernarico. Sean Nemhard walking this one up the pitch. Spent 2 years with Ian Cameron in Tormenta. Coronado with a juggle, and that one booted away by Sorensen. Lawal trying to shrug off Dimmick, gets knocked over. Ref says play on. That one will be a free kick in favor of Charlotte. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Let's hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more on Sirius XM FC 157 in the new Sirius XM app. Offside flag goes up, which means this opportunity stopped dead in its tracks for the Charlotte Independents. 35 minutes down, 10 more plus change to go here in the first half. Penalty kick goal for Coronado is the difference. As we hit halftime, we'll revisit some of our highlights from last weekend in the Jägermeister Cup. We'll also talk a little bit about cup sets in the US Open Cup, which resumes in the midweek this next week. Still 3 USL League One teams in the competition. Of course, these Jacks of Charlotte will be competing. And Cameron's Tormenta will be in it. They always seem to pull off an upset or two in the Open Cup every year. And then, of course, Union Omaha, the Open Cup upset kings of USL League One with their historic run they made, where they were able to knock off several MLS clubs. Central Valley trying to spring forward once again. Perhaps a little preemptive on that forward pushing pass. Had some numbers going forward. Mbuyu plays it in for Obregon. He decides to take it from a long distance, and although you appreciate the ambition, it was going to be a tough shot to put on a target and challenge Zuluaga. One thing that struck me last weekend when watching the Jägermeister Cup, kind of as a side thought next to the fact that, oh my goodness, how many of those games went to penalties. It was 3 of 4 that first day, and then 1 more in the next 2 games. That's a pretty exciting clip to shoot at for tight, intense matchups. But one thing did strike me odd, which was the penalty kicks themselves. As Charlotte will push forward, a player is down. And just waiting for the whistle from the ref as Luis Alvarez is still on the ground. Looks like he'll be all right though. But as I was saying, it just was a bit odd because typically when a game goes to penalty kicks, the tension is just so unbelievably high. Because think about any other times that a game does go to penalty kicks. You're thinking it's the World Cup knockout round, it's the US Open Cup, a cup set's on the line, like the Independents had when they played Rhode Island, or when they were on the other end of it when they were on the verge of being cup set. And then in these games, Johnson squares it across. A touch is taken by Sis, and then it's wound up and scored! You don't need to call me a prophet on this one. It's Juan Carlos Obregon Jr. again. It's only the most predictable result for the Charlotte Independents. Joel Johnson squares it. Omar Sis gives it a couple of touches and maybe a little bit of help from Clayton Torr as well. I said it in the opening and I'll say it again. This man's been bagging goals. And he starts this play. Excuse me. There he is. Second goal in league play, but 5th goal across all competitions, and now 8 appearances across all competitions for the Jacks. He's just that good, folks. And there's already been talk about what he does as a player on the pitch and how good he is in that regard. I asked Mike Jeffries, tell us about how he is as a person and how he's quickly gelled with this team, because it's evident that he has really clicked with this personnel. And Mike Jeffries said that he's got tremendous character. You could see it even more in training than you do on game day, and he just makes it so easy to play with. And if you combine those two things, it means you're gonna blend in well with the guys pretty quickly. And boy, has he demonstrated that. Not sure if that'll go down as an assist for Omar Sis, given the fact that there was some disruption from Clayton Torr there, but if it isn't an official assist, it's an effective assist for Sis. Say that one 5 times in a row real quick. Can Central Valley find a quick response? Just a little bit too much juice on that distribution. It was almost a promising opportunity for the home side. This one deflecting out for a Central Valley corner kick.
Corner kick for your Central
And the home side, after having a lead for a good chunk of this first half, reclaim it here after conceding, which means that that streak without a clean sheet will continue. Gomez plays it in. It's still in the fray, but as many things do for Charlotte, it ends up in the arms of Austin Pack. This one jarred back by Central Valley. Lawal will get to that one before Spielman. Jose Carrera Garcia. Nice pass inside. Lawal loses his footing. Siobhan John Brown let him have it. And then slippage occurred. This one turned over once again. Vasquez wins another corner kick for Central Valley.
Corner kick for your Central Valley Fuego FC.
Showing some passion here in the closing moments of the half, Central Valley. It is Emmanuel Gomez once again from this white flag. And we've got a repeat corner kick.
Do it again. Another corner for your Central Valley.
And a lot of corner kicks for Central Valley Fuego in this game. I believe this is corner kick number 5 for them. As we hit the 45th minute, we'll see how much time is tacked on by our fourth official. Dimmick heads this one away. Mbuyu able to get that one away. It's a Fuego throw as Gomez goes from the right corner flag across the pitch to throw this one in. Eckenberg, under serious duress from two separate Jacks players, is able to get it away though. That's a wonderful turn. It's a good looking ball too, but just a little too high. He had a man awaiting it. It was Zahir Vasquez inside as we get 3 minutes tacked on to close out this first half. That's back to even. Penalty drawn by Jose Carrera Garcia. A penalty converted by Robert Coronado. And then the most obvious vote for a goal scorer in this game, Juan Carlos Obregon Jr. Blazers one from outside the penalty area. Jose Carrera Garcia, that pass back to him just a little heavy. But a good blocked long pass. And Central Valley Fuego once again has possession. That tangle collision between Dimmick and Lawal will go in favor of the defenders. Been Central Valley Fuego who have been the aggressors ever since that goal was conceded, winning the ball back quickly when they lose it. Austin Pack just killing time here. He knows how the flow of the game has been for the past 5 or so minutes. Just 1 more minute to go before we have our halftime break here. And Jai running it forward. And Mbuyu gets tripped up. And with 30 seconds to go, it's a interesting set piece opportunity for Charlotte. Sorensen bending it in, punched away by Zuluaga. And that is how the half will conclude. A penalty kick scored by Central Valley. And JC Obregon Jr. leveled it back up in the 39th minute for the visiting Jacks, which is where we stand now. We've got lots to talk about on the other end of this break. We've got cups to discuss, more than just one cup, as this score is 1 apiece after 45 minutes. After this break, we'll come back to you with all that halftime content right here on ESPN+. Welcome back here to Fresno State Soccer Stadium. It's one apiece between Central Valley Fuego and the Charlotte Independents. My name is Mark Schoenstert. We had a lot of fun games. We talked a little bit about them in the first half last weekend in the Jägermeister Cup. So how about we take a peek back at some of those highlights in case you missed a lot of the fun and the action in last weekend's Jägermeister Cup inaugural weekend, starting with Spokane and Central Valley Fuego. The first ever goal scored in the competition, Pierre Reedy, would end up winning the man of the round and the goal of the round with that one. But Central Valley Fuego would not give up in this one. They would continue to fight, continue to push, and a penalty kick would be awarded. And Robert Coronado, who put away a penalty in this one, would also put one away last weekend. They would then go to penalty kicks, where Jermaine Jones's side would be victorious and would get 2 points as opposed to the 1 point claimed by Spokane Velocity. Then all the way to the other coast, the East Coast, in Greenville, South Carolina, between the Kickers and the Greenville Triumph. A denial early and penalties for Greenville would not be enough for them to get all 3 points or even 2 points, as Ryan Sierakowski would score in the second half, the 70th minute to be precise. But late goals were all a part of the formula in that first day of Jägermeister Cup action. Evan Lee in the 89th minute would draw this game level, but it would be the Kickers who would win from the penalty spot after that. Then we shift down a state border south to Tormenta, where the Charlotte Independents would get the early lead thanks to Juan Carlos Obregon Jr., who else. But then in the 93rd minute, when Charlotte thought they would get all 3 points in this game, Ian Cameron in the home side, South Georgia Tormenta, would level things. It would be a Vivas header goal against the same goal that Obregon scored in the first half of action to make it 1-1. But in the penalties, it would be the Independents who would win that extra point. And then the only game that opening day that wouldn't go to penalties was an exciting one too, between two Tennessee rivals, Chattanooga and Knoxville. It's a great save here by Tim Trilt, but he would not be able to save this free kick effort. Ball served in, and it's a Skelton score. Jordan Skelton, one of the poster men for this one Knoxville team. Not usually a guy who gets onto the score sheet as one of the heavy clearing center backs, but he was able to rise up for that one and give his team the only 3 points any team would claim that first day. Then the next day on Sunday, boy, was this a tight, intense affair. A lot of physicality, and we would get this red card there by Tate Robertson. There would be a late goal despite that for Lexington to get 3 points, and then we'd have penalties again on Wednesday after that. So much fun in the Jägermeister Cup. Can't wait for next weekend to see the madness continue. With that in mind, we're going to step aside. When we come back, we'll be talking about the US Open Cup. We'll see you there.
When termites show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way. Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power. Trusted for over 100 years, our proven blend of camphor, menthol, and essential oils tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger, so that you can rise above pain and get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
Distance, oh, what an effort, and it's special. Shoma fires! Oh! Goal!
Looks great. Oh.
When termites show up, so do we. Terminix it.
At Golden Bear Physical Therapy, our goal is to help you reach the best version of you. We specialize in physical therapy, work injury prevention and rehabilitation, athlete training and sports injury, and so much more. So whether you're trying to get back to work or back to practice, call us today and let us help you.
League One fans are all too familiar with the chaos that can occur in this league, and they also love bringing that chaos to the leagues above them, so punching up some upsets, or as we like to call it in the Open Cup, cup sets. So let's learn a little bit more about them and why we should be anticipating seeing more this upcoming week.
Mertz again trying to play in Dikwa. Dikwa's in behind. Dikwa's open the scoring.
Chested down. Oh, that is spectacular. It's a cup set for Union Omaha.
Kasim cutting inside. And there it is. Cup set magic in the air tonight. Saved by Viniello. Rodrigo Lopez. It's improbable. It's indomitable. It's another cup set.
And for USL League One fans, let's take a look at some of the cup set opportunities in this US Open Cup in the 2024 season. Atlanta United against the Charlotte Independents, 7:30 on Tuesday, May 7th. That'll be your first chance as League One fans to tune in and see that take place. There's also some chances for USL Championship clubs to pull off the cup set against MLS sides in Memphis versus Dallas, along with San Jose Earthquakes against Oakland Roots. A lot of fun opportunities. And Detroit City against Houston Dynamo. I completely glazed over that one. But of course, as League One fans, you love when you can see an upset not only one tier above you, but 2 tiers above you, which has already happened several times in the US Open Cup in the short history of USL League One. Then on Wednesday, it's Charleston Battery against Tormenta. Tormenta have knocked off several USL Championship teams, including this very same Charleston Battery team in years past in the Open Cup, but this is a good Charleston Battery team, so that one is going to be a tough order for Ian Cameron's side. Meanwhile, on top of that, you've got Union Omaha against Sporting Kansas City, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So those are your 2 chances on Wednesday to see a USL League One team pull off the upset, and there's also more chances for the championship to pull off those upsets against MLS. Always love the good underdog, and we'll see if one of these 2 teams can love themselves some 3 points here this evening in the second half when we come back. Here, we'll look at the highlights and the stats here. We'll step aside for a break. back at Fresno State Soccer Stadium for the second 45 minutes here between Central Valley Fuego FC and the Charlotte Independence. Mark Schnoetzer here with you on ESPN+. Before we get to the second 45 minutes of action, let's take a look at the first 45 minutes of action between Central Valley Fuego and Charlotte Independence. A goal apiece between the two sides, and it started with Jose Carrera Garcia taking a tumble inside the penalty area, which meant that the man Robert Coronado, we saw his penalty at halftime that he converted last week in the Jägermeister Cup. Now we get to see it again here. Second competitive match in a row that he's been able to bury one from the spot. This time deciding to go directly down the middle as opposed to picking the left-hand side. If he had gone to the left-hand side, he also would have been able to make it happen with Austin Pack diving to his left. But then how about this shot from Juan Carlos Obregon Jr. Just zipping that one in, left-hand side, picking a corner and scoring. It was only the most obvious choice for a goal scorer in this game for either side. He has just been scoring, and he continues to demonstrate why and showing that he can do it in a myriad of ways as well. And here are your halftime stats between the two sides. Fairly even on most fronts, possession in favor of the Charlotte Independence. Central Valley Fuego, I would say, had a fair share of entrances into the attacking third, and they have the advantage in the expected goals, 1.01 to 0.17. Of course, a good chunk of that expected goals is going to come from the penalty spot. I believe it's about 0.74, around that area that gets tacked on anytime a player goes to that marker. But even without that, they would still have the advantage over Charlotte Independence in the XG category. But of course, that was the last 45 minutes. Now you've got adjustments from both coaches out of the dressing rooms. We'll see how these two players, not the two players, two teams, respond to the next half of action here. I'll switch ends and look to do some more damage here.
Central Valley, we need that energy. We need that excitement. We need you to bring it this second half. Make some noise for your CV Fuego FC.
So we do have one substitution to get to you. So the one substitution, Cutis Lawal's night has concluded, and Raul Mendiola has checked into the game, the veteran. I briefly mentioned that he was a former teammate of Jermaine Jones, and now being able to use some of that wisdom out on the pitch to help his team potentially get all 3 points in this one. We'll see if that substitution ends up making a difference here. Vasquez got a touch on it and is able to track it down before Roberts can get there. Service ball in, just over the head of Carrera Garcia. But it's fought for, one back by Mendiola. Raul Mendiola takes a shot, and it'll scamper wide. Out for a goal kick. It's looking to be the immediate impact substitution, having an opportunity to put one on or across goal for a teammate. There's one of the goal scorers, Juan Carlos Obregon, just lobbing this one up. Zuluaga can collect it. Nifty step there from Issa Yaya, 19 years old, from Ghana. Was raised in the Bronx, though. Earlier, he was one of the young guys who got the chance to get into the game in the Jägermeister Cup. Not an academy guy, though, actually, Isiaya. This is his first professional contract with Central Valley Fuego. So, going a step further than the likes of Javier Mariona or Kabamba or Chalmers, or some of those Academy contract guys on the Central Valley Fuego team. Heckenberg inside. Jose Carrera Garcia trying to find Mendiola. He's a little bit too far ahead of him, which means a goal kick incoming. No changes for Mike Jeffrey's side, but got some good options on the bench when he decides to dig into that bag. Of course, the return of Gabriel Oberton. Tor. Toss it in, and no foul called there on the entanglement. Mbuyu, with the outside of his boot, connects with Obregon. He let it run for a moment, and he dishes it out with some pace to Joel Johnson. Long ball from Johnson. Tor provides the clearance. Njai over to Sorensen. Mendiola, couple of quick passes. Coronado plays it out wide. Vasquez, a lot of room to work with. That's Gomez, actually. He pops it inside. Siobhan John Brown poked away from him from the last moment by Nick Spielman. Now Mendiola. He'll play this one back to Tor, who has some pressure, but he finds the target of Heckenberg. That's a wonderful ball. Mendiola cross centrally, and it's knocked away. It'll be a corner kick for the home team. Zahir Vasquez, the one who came streaking in. That's a great ball from Heckenberg. A little one-touch pass inside from Mendiola as well. Now Emmanuel Gomez will take it from the right corner flag. Headed away easily by Dimmick. And it won't be Gomez the one to toss it in. They'll instead employ the launch strength of Siobhan John Brown. Looked like a handball there potentially from Juan Carlos Obregon Jr. Warning there after the poke away by Luis Alvarez. Once the whistle was blown, our head official, Servando Manrico, one keeping the peace here, hasn't had to reach into his pocket for the booking just yet. We'll see if I jinxed that now. And lo and behold, there's the yellow card for Luis Alvarez. Man, I should have started a stopwatch or something. That had to have been under a minute. Luis Alvarez just moments after being warned for poking the dead ball away. I think it's a little bit too physical there with Acha Isayaya, and earns his third yellow card of the season. Siobhan John Brown tried to square it inside, still in play. Quick give and go there between him and Alvarez. Mbuyu gets knocked over. And it's a free kick for the Jacks. A bit of confusion there. Obregon will end up leaving it for Alvarez and Sorensen. I feel like Obregon's a guy that you want in the mix of things. It's Alvarez. He threads it short. And it looked like that went straight to Obregon, but he couldn't quite corral it. Sorensen. His effort off the back of John Brown. Now Vasquez will just try to launch it as far up the pitch as he can, but it does drift out of bounds. And it did so rather early. Of course, if this game ends with the same score as it is now, we'll be going to penalty kicks like it does in the Jägermeister Cup. You always got to make sure you know which competition this one is. Mentioned the penalty kicks for an extra point in that competition. Central Valley Fuego try to have an opportunity here, but they won't find it. I was talking briefly about it in the first half that the tension is definitely different when all that's up for stake is an extra point, which could end up being very important. Could end up being the difference between making the playoff round in the Jägermeister Cup or missing, but definitely doesn't have that same end-all be-all of win and you move on or lose and you go home that most penalty kicks have. And I asked both coaches about if it felt any different, or if the players mentioned that it felt any different. And Mike Jeffries mentioned that he didn't hear the guys mention anything, but he did say that you could see the comfort and the body language of his guys, but that might have been more because that was their third time going to penalty kicks this year, having already gone to pens twice in the Open Cup. So perhaps just being used to the scenario. He also mentioned it's definitely different too, though, when you've only played 90 minutes as opposed to the hard 120 that usually come with going to pens. Coronado stuttering, now shooting, and it's saved by Pack. Meanwhile, Jermaine Johnson, when asked about the penalties, he said, first off, he didn't play, so it was normal for him on the sideline, just hoping that his guys could get it done. But also, I thought the tension was still there, even without those extra stakes. He says, I mean, by that time, you just want to win the game. You just badly want to win it. His team battled so hard to get back into that one and at a time. And that although technically it's not 3 points, it was only 2, he still felt like it was a win at the end of the day. Smealman will tap it back to his center back counterpart. Pack has to get rid of that one after the touch. Maybe it was just a bit further away from him than he anticipated. The USL League One is on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN+. Go to USLLeague1.com for the complete USL TV listings. Here's a chance for the Independents pushing forward. Obregon shakes to his right. He's taken down, and we've got another penalty kick. This time in favor of the visiting Jacks. Juan Carlos Obregon Jr. Such a threat. And he gets pushed over by Emmanuel Gomez. can't be going that physical, knowing when you're in the penalty area for Gomez. And now it's an opportunity for a brace for Juan Carlos Obregon Jr., the man from Brooklyn, looking to continue what has been such an impressive start to his Jacks career, and it continues to be impressive. Juan Carlos Obregon Jr. with a brace and a claimed lead for the visitors. Six goals in 8 competitions for the Charlotte Independent striker. So quickly acclimated to his already a side wealthy with offensive weapons, and he's been carrying the scoring weight of this team early on in the season. Came over from the Players' Shield winning Pittsburgh Riverhounds. He also played at Hartford Athletic, where he was the first player in their club's history to score in double figures in a season, had 10 goals and 1 assist. So he's not unfamiliar with racking up goals. But boy, is he off to a wondrous start in Charlotte Independent's colors. Now Central Valley Fuego, after finding the lead early in this game, now need to find a response to even salvage a point in this one as we get closer and closer to already getting 2/3 of the way through this one. Tor up to Coronado, the lone goal scorer for the home side. This pass didn't reach the target. Two goals from Juan Carlos Obregon, one from beyond the penalty area and one from the penalty spot. That is how Charlotte Independents are currently holding 3 points in their hand. Here's a long ball forward. Siobhan John Brown loses his footing, and what was a promising opportunity won't even challenge Austin Pack. This is when Central Valley really need to rely on the guys that are out there or on the bench who could come into the game, who have a wealth of experience, one of them being, or at least one who's out on the field. Raul Mendiola subbed on during the halftime break. He's a player whom had played some very high caliber places. Talked a little bit about him with Jermaine Jones. Mendiola, a guy who has played at the MLS level with teams like LA Galaxy. But after leaving Las Vegas Lights at the end of 2020, did not have another recorded club he had played with till he came to join Central Valley Fuego. So I asked Jermaine Jones, where's he been? What's he been up to? And Jermaine Jones told me he's been keeping himself fit. He was hurt for some of that time off, but he'd been wanting to get back into it. So they had a conversation. He talked to Raul about what his vision was for this Central Valley team, told him the plan, and he was up and ready for the challenge. Sis tapping out wide to Johnson. Johnson has a searching ball, and it's cleared away by Nemhard. Out for a Charlotte throw. Bit of a veto here by our head official, Servando Bernarico. The assistant official pointed in favor of Charlotte, but a opposing angle from the head honcho. Opted to go the other route. Tor. Swiping through there on that pass, and do have a player down. Play will go on for now. And Jai back up on his feet. And then Omar Sis barreling in. It's a free kick in a decent spot for Central Valley.
Please stay up to date with Fuego FC by visiting our official website at fuegofc.com. Download the 2024 schedule.
Let's see what the home side could cook up from this distance.
Once again at fuegofc.com.
It's not entirely out of shooting range. Of course, it's going to take a rather phenomenal shot, but it does pose the opportunity for a good service and a potential finish that they're fishing for right now. Gomez. Put a lot of heat behind that one. Now Jose Correa Garcia with space and options. Mendiola won't take the running Jose Correa Garcia. Instead, they'll play it back. Mendiola tried to cut it through on that instance. Home side pushing onward, trying to find that response goal. Vasquez is able to body away Roberts to keep possession. Just a slight glance of the ball there made it more difficult for Tor to get to. But it's once again in hold by Central Valley. Obregon knocked over by Tor. And we will get some substitutions here. Also for both sides. And some good presences. Good players coming out on the pitch for both sides. We've already seen Gabriel Overton come on for Tracer and Buyu. Ashkanov, Apollon will be stepping in for Robert Coronado. We're waiting to see where Noah Pilato will step in. And he'll come in for Bashir and Jai. So there are your changes. Actually, we're going to get one more. Well, that was just the announcement of Pilato coming in for Njai. So 3 changes. Once again, Oberton and Pilato in for Charlotte. Meanwhile, Apollon coming in for Central Valley Fuego. Here is the Steely vet, Oberton. Swinging ball comes in, tap down, saved by Zulawaga. Joel Johnson, the one who had the last touch on it for Charlotte, trying to double their lead. See how these adjustments impact the role of the game. Tor up to Vasquez. Trying to dance away from some pressure. He is stuck in a corner. Charlotte will end up winning possession here, but deep in their own territory. This ball lopped in, headed upward. Won by Central Valley. Mendiola tried to wind the shot, but the clearance would come off his chest. Tor now rifles it in, chested down. Apollon taps it left. Now a chipped up ball up for Mendiola, headed outward. Heckenberg back to Mendiola. Pilata wins it back for the Independents. Noah Pilata, an experienced player in USL League One, coming over from the Greenville Triumph. He was a longtime player for that club. eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now. Independents claiming a lead here in the second half, thanks to a penalty converted and drawn by Juan Carlos Obregon Jr. Clayton Tor able to win that ball there for Central Valley. Now Jose Carrera Garcia sprays it out wide. Gomez taps it. Now here's a service inside. Mendiola. He'll take an effort. And I'm not sure if that was meant to bend towards one of his teammates there centrally or if it was meant to test Austin Pack. It ends up reaching Pack one way or another. Not lethal enough to truly get that goalkeeper in a worrisome state. And Austin Pack, I mean, he's incredible. Broke the League One record last year for saves in a season. And somehow he's still with the Independents. Oberton puts this one up. I talked to Mike Jeffries about that a little bit this week, and I wondered just how on earth is Austin Pack still around? And basically told me, your guess is as good as mine. He did have some conversation with some clubs, but sometimes you also got to have a right fit. Just forcing the move upwards, not always the best decision. Heckenberg, still going. Now Jose Carrera Garcia to Tor. Here's a ball inside for Heckenberg, or from Heckenberg. Second chance. Floated back in. Mendiola brings it down. He'll now try goal, and Austin Pack gets to it. As I was saying about Pack, I mean, why would you want to go somewhere where you're not going to be a right fit? Maybe you're sitting behind a guy just trying to fight for minutes. And my thought is, yeah, I mean, you're a star here with the Independents. He's picked up right where he left off last season, making some great saves, been helping his team stay in competitions. I think sometimes players just get their eyes wide sometimes when they see that gold star next to a USL club and immediately make that jump, and sometimes even if they're ready for the jump, it just isn't a good fit. That can be detrimental. That even happen in lateral movement across clubs. Sometimes players just thrive at one club been switched to another team in the league, and it just doesn't quite work. That could be for a myriad of reasons, whether that be just play style, chemistry. Sometimes players just get hurt and it doesn't quite ever click. The one place Austin Pack knows it does work is with this team from Charlotte. Tor has that one knocked away. Siobhan John Brown plays it back to Heckenberg. They'll cycle it over to the left-hand side. Gomez. Back to Heckenberg. Receiving some pressure from Alvarez and Oberton. And he gets taken down as he takes the shot, and no foul is called. So it will be a goal kick executed by Austin Pack. 30 years old from Atlanta, Georgia. Across from him, his adversary in goal, Andre Zuluaga, just 20 from Miami. Zuluaga, a goalkeeper who's good with his feet, according to Jermaine Jones. Both of his goalkeepers that he's playing this year, him and Carlos Aviles, both share that quality. They understand. And here's an example of him using his feet and maybe a bit of a tight bind there. Both Aviles and Zuluaga know that they're going to be relied on to make some plays to keep their team in games. In that game against Spokane, and what was his first game this year between the pipes for Central Valley, Jermaine Jones said that he felt that he gave his side good energy and he was confident in him when they went to penalties. I mentioned he likes to be in that high-stakes situation, that pressure. He's always been good when they go to penalties in practice, and he demonstrated that in that game against Spokane. He was animated, super expressive, and he was definitely enjoying that moment. Of course, you enjoy it a lot more too once you're on the winning end of a penalty kick shootout. Omar Sis back on the ground once again. It wasn't obvious by that chunky cast he's wearing. Just recently getting back into the mix of things from an injury. $15 more minutes to go in this one, plus whatever stoppage time is allocated. Central Valley took the lead 10 minutes in. It was a penalty that was converted. Robert Coronado. And then 39th minute goal from Juan Carlos Obregon, the only goal in open play so far in this one. He would then draw a penalty in the second half, and he would convert it. Wanted to retake this penalty kick quickly, free kick quickly. Trying to get a booking for Charlotte here. I believe that's being given to Sorensen. We'll wait confirmation on that one. And as confirmed, second yellow card of the season for Sorensen. Now got another substitution for the visiting Jacks. Fabrice Nga comes in for Joel Johnson. Now, not only does Charlotte need to consider how they're going to come out of this game with 3 points, but also think about the minute managing of some of these players who are going to be crucial in that game on Tuesday against Atlanta United in the Open Cup. Bit of a juggling act will have to be done here by Mike Jeffries. Of course, number one priority is to win this one before thinking about games moving forward. But it's still something that's going to sit in the back of your mind when you have such a tight turnaround. Siobhan John Brown going down there. And we have a home side player down on the grass. Sean Nemhard, the one assisting with stretching as Acha Isayaya, his young center back counterpart, looks to get worked on and be good enough to get back up on his feet and keep playing at least, or not at least, in the best case scenario. Home side pressing onward once again. Carrera Garcia. Tor. And finding the always ever involved Jose Carrera Garcia. Is it back to Zuluaga, who, that's poor distribution. Obregon looking for Oberton. Shrugs off one defender, squares it back to Alvarez! Charlotte make it 3-1. A potential nail in the coffin. Starting off a mistake from the goalkeeper. Just a loose pass. And Obregon puts his head up, looks for the vet, and then he has his head up and connects with the young Luis Alvarez, his second goal in league play this season. Was entirely an off-the-bench substitute spark plug last season, Luis Alvarez. But now he is a consistent starter for Mike Jeffries' side. You can find him all over the pitch when they have possession. And now he finds himself on the stat sheet. His second year with the club from Honduras. As of last year, Mike Jeffries' assessment of Alvarez was a young guy who he could see a lot of potential in. And he liked coming off the bench. And then his assessment of him this year was that it was now time for him to take that next step forward. Now that he understood the system, he could play a more pivotal role on this Independence team. And for Gabriel Oberton, just another of many contributions to the score sheet. His first assist this year, just his second appearance in League One play this season after hurting his MCL. Vasquez couldn't quite put that one on frame. They're gonna need a goal quickly here if they want to put this one back into contention. We're gonna get two substitutions now for the Independents. First, Denzel Akyampong in for Anton Sorensen, and then who's been the primary star of the show tonight, Juan Carlos Obregon Jr., will see his night come to a close, and Carlton Belmar, the veteran striker, will come in his stead. So it'll be a brace on the evening for Obregon as his wonderful start as an Independence player continues. The other goal scorer for Charlotte, Luis Alvarez, now curling up, a little slow to get up here, and now he'll sprawl out further. That'll be the next objective for Charlotte. That challenge earning a yellow card for Acha Isayaya. Next objective for Charlotte, though, will try to get out of this one without picking up any severe injuries as they go into that match on Tuesday at Atlanta. As the clock ticks away further and further, their assuredness of 3 points gets closer and closer to certain. Oberton. Back to Spielman. Nice passing, but then Omar Sis lets that one get away from him. Part of the ethos of this Central Valley Fuego team this year is to give some of these young guys some opportunities, and that's going to mean some learning moments. And although Andre Zuluaga has been playing in the professional ranks for quite a while, for those League One fans that remember that name from his time in his Fort Lauderdale days back in 2020, 4 years ago, had 5 League One apps back then, but he's still just 20 years old. So him, along with some of these other youngsters who are getting significant minutes for Jermaine Jones, it's going to come with some bumps in the road, some mistakes like the one that he had on that last goal in distribution. You know for certain, though, that there is no harsher a learning moment than conceding a goal, but it's also one that the mistake happens and it lives very clearly in your mind, and you don't make that mistake again, or else you make it very, very hard to make that mistake again. So we get another booking here. We'll wait to see officially who is reported for that one. So the new substitute, Carlton Belmar, getting his first card of the season. Played last year with the Richmond Kickers. No midweek game upcoming for Central Valley, just a road trip next weekend to Lexington. Now Emmanuel Gomez will come out, and Abdul Razak Cromwell will sub in. One of the returning players from last year for Central Valley. One of just a few. Siobhan John Brown trying to thread the needle there. Now Tor taps it to Heckenberg. Corner kick incoming. This one from the left corner flag. The majority of these corner kicks for Central Valley have gone from the right-hand side, and it was Emmanuel Gomez who would provide the service. He just subbed out of the game. So it'll be Jose Carrera Garcia. Service incoming. And snared by Austin Pack. Time running out here for Central Valley Fuego. It's a game where definitely some positives to glean from it, but one or two crucial mistakes leading to those last two goals in particular. Siobhan John Brown weaving. Plays it to his left. Razak Cromwell tried to rifle that one into the 18. Issa Yaya. Tor. His bending effort knotted away. It'll be Razak Cromwell, the substitute, once again with the ball. Another service comes in, headed outward. Tor, the closest man to it. And he'll let it roll out of bounds, and he'll quickly throw it back in. Heckenberg. And now Alvarez. Bring this one forward for Charlotte. Oberton. Good look back inside. Pilato lost his balance for just a moment, but he's able to get it away. Going the other way. Some time wasting. Here from Uno Pilato and the Charlotte Independents. Mendiola receiving the long ball, puts it back across! And that ball was a little high. Zahir Vasquez had to go up for it, which meant he couldn't quite bring it down. As we hit 90 minutes, got 4 more minutes incoming. Zahir Vasquez rose up, excuse me. But couldn't quite get over top of that ball, so it was only going upward from there. Razak Cromwell puts this one in. Cleared away. Now Alvarez, the last goal scorer in this affair, will dribble away, kill some of that clock. Connects with Oberton, who then gets fouled. Belmar. Working one-on-one with Issa Yaya. And that ball's still in play. It's got to go completely out of bounds. Touching the perimeter is not enough. Halfway over the perimeter is not enough. It has to be entirely across. If you ever need the most extreme example of that rule, how impactful it can be, I believe it was a World Cup game against Japan and Germany in the last World Cup where Japan were able to keep it in bounds, and if you looked at it from a side angle, you could even see green blades of grass between the bottom of the soccer ball and the goal line as they kept it in play and eventually scored. But because, of course, the ball being round, the outside of the ball still crossed over the top of the white line, which meant the ball was still in play, and the Japanese were able to score against Germany from that sliding challenge to keep the ball in play. Those who remember that know exactly what I'm talking about. A fantastic effort, fantastic goal there, but just a good demonstration of just how far the boundary can be pushed along either the touchline or the byline. John Brown enters the 18. And his effort is deflected from one center back to the other. Nick Spielman with the deflection, and it's Hugh Roberts the one who chests it down. Do not have to push it forward. Charlotte can just enjoy possession as they run out the rest of this clock, as they lock up 3 more points. They were down 1-0 early, but the cross-country Jacks kept it cool and composed, and they found their way back into this one and were able to secure 3 points on the road. A brace by Juan Carlos Obregon Jr., followed by a breakaway goal scored by Luis Alvarez. 3-1 your final score here. Charlotte Independence victorious over Central Valley Fuego. And we're going to step aside. We'll be back with post-game thoughts. Welcome back to Fresno State Soccer Stadium for our concluding thoughts here on ESPN Plus. Your final score, the visiting Charlotte Independence victorious over the home side Fuego 3-1. Mark Schoenster here one last time as we close things up here this Friday night or Saturday morning if you're a Charlotte Independence fan who stayed tuned in for this late night game on the East Coast. It was an early penalty kick in the 10th minute drawn by Jose Carrera Garcia and then blasted away by Robert Coronado. But you knew this man was going to test the goalie, and test him he did with this laser of a shot. Juan Carlos Obregon, the first of 2 goals on the night, just picking aside and putting it away. Then the second half would begin, and he would once again be in a dangerous spot. He'd get knocked over by Emmanuel Gomez, and of course he's the one they're going to put at the penalty marker. He would collect the brace and make it 6 goals in 8 competitions, 8 matches for the Charlotte Independent striker. And what a tidy finish it was too. Putting it away so nicely and giving his team the lead at that very moment. Central Valley Fuego will try to fight back into this game, but then a rough mistake from the young goalkeeper. Nembard shrugged off by the veteran Oberton, who then tees it up oh so nicely for Luis Alvarez to put away to make it 3-1. A solidifier of the lead and a locking up of all 3 points with 3 goals to show for it for the Charlotte Independents. And that is how the highlights wrap up, and here are the numbers from the match, and you can see that pretty much everything favors Central Valley Fuego. Not a bad showing from them, but at the end of the day, you make some crucial mistakes, and a team like the Charlotte Independents are not going to make you feel good about those mistakes. They are punishers, to say the least, with the kind of attacking prowess they have and the kind of counterattack that they have at their display. The speed, the precision of some of these Jax strikers is just too much to handle. With that, Charlotte now will go on the road on Tuesday to play in the Open Cup against an MLS side. It's a Jägermeister Cup against Lexington next time out for Jermaine Jones' side. But for tonight's show, for tonight's broadcast crew, I'm Mark Schoenster. We thank you for tuning in. We hope you have a fantastic rest of your night. And we hope to see you again tomorrow on ESPN Plus on USL League One broadcasts. We'll see you then.